Welcome back to another Shinderlife video. In this Shinderlife video, I'm going to be ranking every single boss drop from worst to best. This has been a requested video in most of my comments. So if you guys have any suggestions for videos in the future, or videos you just want to see, or you just like the videos, make sure to subscribe, comment below what your favorite part of the video was, and make sure to hit that bell and the like button. Let's get right into it. Alright, so coming in 13th place and last place on this list is going to be Octo Inc. Now, let me know if you disagree with anything on this tier list. Just comment below what you think about like some of the placements, because it will help me in my future videos. But for Octo Inc., it will be in last place. I just don't find the bloodline very good, if I'm going to be honest. It's a very goofy bloodline because of the dash jump ability, and it actually does quite a bit of damage, but damage is really the only thing it has going for it. I'm not sure if this bloodline is very good or not because, you know, I haven't extensively tested it, so my bad on that. So if you guys think this bloodline is good, or if I'm just missing something about it, let me know. But from my point of view, it kind of just seems like a really high damage bloodline that you just throw into a kid to get more damage out. Like, that ability only did 25k, but I think this secondary ability does a bit, but it's just such a slow ability, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the abilities just, like, they're just super wacky. They're kind of out there and out of control. Let me know if you guys, like, what do you guys think about Octo Inc? I think it's one of the, I think it's, like, it's a really weird bloodline. You could tell that it was nearing the end of, like, the new bloodlines in the game, because it's not really, like some of the abilities are reminiscent of others, but some of the abilities are just super wacky. Like, this second move, which is, like, a freaking dumb jump attack. Let me know what you guys think about this bloodline, though. Alright, so coming to 12th place is going to be Kogoku. Now, I know Kogoku got a buff recently, so it's actually not that bad anymore. I just think the other boss drop bloodlines are a little bit better. But, I mean, like, you could honestly do a lot worse than Kogoku. So, first of all, Kogoku's first move was reworked so that you can actually use it in combos now, which is a very, very nice buff in all honesty. But the main reason why people actually use Kogoku is for this pull move. Now, do you guys remember when pull moves used to be meta in Shinderlife? Kogoku was actually one of the better ones, but the issue was that if you missed the click, it actually spawned a portal, which was bad, which is why people actually preferred to use Vengeance, because not a lot of people have good aim in Shinderlife, so they would just spam click with Vengeance. Now, fortunately, with Kogoku, even though you're bad at aiming, it's still pretty easy to hit. Like, the hitbox on it is still actually fine, but, you know, people do actually find the Vengeance pull move a lot easier to hit. But me personally, I did like using Kogoku's pull move a lot. I just don't think it's a very good bloodline anymore, and that's mainly because just there's a lot of other bloodlines that do what Kogoku does. But yeah, Kogoku personally, I just don't think it's a very good bloodline anymore because I think there's a lot of other bloodlines that overshadow it like crazy now. But it's still a good enough bloodline that if you really, really want this bloodline for some reason, you can still go and grind it. I just wouldn't recommend it myself. Alright, so coming in 11th place is actually going to be the Surge bloodline. Now, Surge, honestly, in my opinion, I really like the bloodline, but it's really not that great. First of all, the second and third ability of Surge really isn't that good. I just like the first ability. The first ability is a stun ability that you could constantly knock people into over and over and over again, and I just really like the first ability. I'm kind of biased when it comes to Surge because the bloodline itself isn't that good, but I think the first ability is very goofy and it's very fun to make combos revolving around that Surge ability. Alright, so coming in 10th place is going to be one of my personal favorite boss bloodlines. It's going to be Magma. Now, this bloodline is really good for boss grinding in general, just as an EKG, because, you know, it's really good on bosses that stand still. And that tends to be something that happens when you fight these bosses now, apparently. Now, not only that, but Magma's also pretty good in PvP as well because of the third ability specifically. When you use the third ability on somebody, it will actually place lock stun them into the air. So it's going to be pretty decent because of that. Like this ability right here, boom. This ability is actually really good in PvP. I do use it quite a bit in PvP when I'm not using like meta kits. I kind of just use that ability. But other than that, Magma is just kind of like mid, and I do recommend staying away from it for PvP, but it can be a fun bloodline to throw into your kit if you're just looking for a little bit of something that's a little bit off meta. Wait, I just realized something. Do you guys, why are all of my bloodlines leveled 5,000? Wait, what the heck? Why are all of my bloodlines leveled 5,000? All right, anyways, I don't know why I have level 5,000 bloodlines. What's my actual level in the game? I think it's just 1,000. Yeah, I just have like normal, I don't know why my bloodline levels are 5,000. Okay, now coming to 9th place is going to be Fizz. Now, Fizz, well, after it came out, was actually kind of meta for a little bit. It's not going to be for the first or third move, which actually is pretty buns, but for the second move. So it's a dash move that at the end, it actually used this, it was a really, really good dash move that you could do after combos to lead into a stun. Now, the move was actually nerfed. It's still a pretty good bloodline, hence why it's going to be a lot last on this list, because the first and third move of it are honestly really, really bad. But the dash move is still good enough to warrant actually grinding for it if you just really, really need a dash move. But personally, I would go and roll for Code rather than use Fizz. In my personal opinion, I think Code has a better dash move. But yeah, Fizz I feel like Fizz at 9th place is actually pretty fair for what Fizz is. If you want to grind for it, sure, go ahead. The actual Gen 3 for it actually isn't that good either. Nor is the weapon, so there really is no reason to be grinding for Fizz, but if you happen to get it while grinding for Eisden, then feel free to use the dash move. It's not that bad. Now, coming in 8th place is actually going to be Fume. Now, Fume itself really is an okay bloodline, mostly because of the second ability of Fume, which is a dash ability, which afterwards it's basically Code's third ability, but as an EKG move. So it's pretty good just because of the second move of Fume. I think Fume second is really, really, really good. Like I said, it was quite literally before Code released, Fume's second move was pretty much Code third. Even though Code third is just way better than Fume, I do think having this on an EKG slot can be very useful for your combos. And personally, I do think this dash move is very, very nice and very, very fun to use, in all honesty. Now, the other moves of Fume are okay as well, but most of the reason why people always use Fume is for the second move, because it can be used as an escape option or a combo extender, and it's on EKG slot, which just makes it really, really good. Coming in 7th place is going to be D.Va Rengoku. Now, I actually really do like this bloodline. D.Va Ren was one of those bloodlines that I used a lot in this game. I use Gura Rengoku, actually. As you guys can see, I can just look up Gura. I use this version of it a lot because I actually I think this is the best version of it. It doesn't really add anything to the bloodline itself. You do get a good skin, but the bloodline itself is kind of just a very fun bloodline to use. With Gura Ren, I never use the mode, but you do get the, well, I'm not Whitebeard right now, am I? Alright, anyways, I actually do just really like this bloodline. The abilities are really easy to use in combos, and it's just a really, really good combo-oriented bloodline. D.Va Ren was actually one of my more favorite metas in the game, but of course that time has honestly passed. Now, even though it has passed, the moves of D.Va Ren are still good. They still hold up today, even with all the super meta bloodlines. It's just, for the most part, you're going to be using the first and third ability of D.Va Ren for the combos. It's just there's much better bloodlines in the game, but honestly, D.Va Ren is good enough as like an overall bloodline to put halfway through the tier list, because I do think it's worth farming. It's very fun to use, and you will actually win with it. It's just not nearly as good as like the meta stuff in the game. Now, coming to 6th place is going to be Appal Sand. Now, Appal Sand is funny because everyone always used Appal Sand for this move. It gives you damage resistance and it gives you hyper armor permanently. It's still a really, really good move, hence why this is in 6th place. The second move of Appal Sand is actually really bad. It's a sand trap ability. Nobody will ever step on this unless they're trash at the game. Sometimes people will step on it on accident, or you could pull people into it, but 99% of the time, this will never get triggered unless they're trash. But I actually used to use Appal Sand for the first move, which was an instant block breaking ability that actually stunned them. That's the reason why I actually used Appal Sand. It used to be really, really strong. It still is good. It's kind of one of like the underutilized abilities in the game. It's still a really, really good ability. It's just not nearly as good as it used to be because, like always, all my moves get nerfed. So it is what it is, man. But it's still a pretty good ability in all like in general. It's just that when Ashura Shizen's ability exists and it's just a purely better version of this ability, there's no real reason to ever use it. But it's still pretty good. In case you're using this for the third move, you can just throw the first move in, and it's pretty decent because of that. Now, coming to 5th place is going to be Powder. Now, Powder is just a really, really fun bloodline to use. So first of all, when it comes to Powder's second move, it can be used to disrupt enemy combos. You just cast it, and then you charge your chi inside of it. If they dash to you, they'll get knocked back or whatever, and it's just a really, really good ability to disrupt their combos. The first move of Powder is not that great, in my opinion. I don't like it. But the third move of Powder is a dash combo extending ability that puts you in an air combo after it's done. So because of that, it allows you to do some really, really insane combos that you otherwise would not be able to do. So Powder's just a really good EKG bloodline. Now, coming to 4th place is going to be Forged Rengoku. Now, this is mostly going to be for the weapon spec and the first ability of it. Both of these abilities combined, dude, the first ability of Forged Ren completely breaks your character. Like, I'm broke now. Now, keep in mind, this only happens with Forged Rengoku. My character only breaks when I'm using Forged Ren. Like, even if I equip it on these different slots, it doesn't work. This only happens with Forged Rengoku, dude. This is so buns. Let's see if Forged Sengoku unbreaks my character. Nope. Yeah, so that glitch only ever happens when I'm using Forge Ren. But of course, the bloodline is very good when that doesn't happen because the first ability is pretty much, it makes you could just get away from any combat situation or stall out fights because of it. It's mainly just good because of the first move and the mode itself. I'm not going back into the mode because it's gonna break me. The other moves of Forge Ren aren't that good, but the first ability and the mode weapon spec just kind of makes Forge Ren one of the better bloodlines in the game right now. I would recommend farming for it if you're just looking for a bloodline to stall with, but I do actually recommend like Diva Ren over this if you're looking for an overall bloodline. Now, coming to third place is going to be Shindai Rengoku. Now, Shindai Rengoku, it's mostly going to be here for PvE stuff, because the PvE side of Shindai Ren is just so useful that, you know, it's worth grinding for. Not to mention the fact that it can be useful in PvP, but if you're facing anyone that knows what they're doing, you're going to get trashed. I'm just going to be honest, you'll get trashed. The only somewhat useful move of Shindai Ren in PvP is the second one, which is a block break ability. I used to use it a ton in PvP before there was better block breaking abilities. Like, it was easily one of the best, and people didn't really ever use it, so nobody expected you to just go up in the air and throw down a ton of ramen noodles on the ground. So it's a pretty good block breaking ability, but the reason why it's here now is mostly just for PvE content. I mean, the counter and the C-Spec combined with the long range M1s makes grinding just insanely easy. Now, coming to second place is going to be Boramaki Gaiden, which, as I said previously, is one of my favorite bloodlines in the entire game, mostly because of the second, and I think it's the first and second ability are just so good in my opinion. Basically, they combo into one another. You do the first ability into the second one, and then you do that into other combos. Now, the crazy thing about Boramaki Gaiden is that those moves aren't even the reason why it's so strong. It's just those two moves I use personally. So the counter of Boramaki Gaiden, which is the weapon spec, first of all, that F spec is a 50-second cooldown, 80k damage, and it chases them down. But the counter, which is the weapon spec, I can't show it because they're logs don't attack you, but it is one of the best counters in the game. It's an 8-second cooldown that does a ton of damage, disrupts their combos, and you can pretty much just spam it like crazy, and the duration of it is so long that you can just spam it over and over again whenever you're attacked. Basically, you counter, they get attacked for like 7 seconds, and then it's an 8-second cooldown from the last time it attacks somebody. Now, I will say that I do actually think the F spec and the weapon spec are much better than the C spec, but you can't, like, the C spec is good enough on its own. So yeah, I just think Boramaki Gaiden is a great bloodline. It has really good abilities for, like, the first and second ability are insanely good, combined with the weapon spec being insanely good and the throwable spec being insanely good. It's just a really, really, really great bloodline overall, and it would be first if first place didn't have the broken thing it has. Now, coming to first place is going to be Aizen. I wasn't sure if I was going to include this on this tier list because it's technically a boss bloodline, but technically it's not at the same time. Let me know what you guys think about that. But of course, Aizen, I do think Aizen is the best bloodline in the game other than the Rel bloodline, just because, like, even though the moves of Aizen are honestly booty cheeks, like, they're terrible, Aizen mode has a glitch. I'm not going to show it again. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I will. I'll show the glitch. So when you're in Aizen second mode and you use any teleporting ability, it will teleport you across the map. I don't know why that happens, but it happens. But Aizen, other than that, of course, the weapon spec, which I'm using right now, is insanely good. It's like, it has one of the fastest flights in the game, combined with the fact that, like, the cooldown's 5 seconds. So yeah, I mean, Aizen is just, dude, look at this hitbox. Look at the mode hitbox. It's so tall, it teleports me atop the tree. Rel games, why? Why does this exist? Dude, why? That's ridiculous, man. The C-Spec does a lot of damage, and yeah, I just think Aizen mode is just easily the best mode in the entire game, overall. It's just very annoying to fight, and when you're fighting it, you'll wish that you're fighting literally any other bloodline in the game. Trust me, I've fought it in Publix. It's AIDS. But yeah, Aizen in first place. Anyways, guys, that should be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, post to the next one, guys. Peace.